If I set a record and it got broken the next day, I would be upset. Dude, he's always one step ahead of him. Are we sure this isn't the same person? Generic Control and the Doc Games here, back with another video, and today we're doing something from a channel that I have never seen any video from, and that is a channel called Summoning Salt. And today we're doing a video called The History of Wii Sports World Records. If you know a little bit about me, I absolutely love Wii Sports. It's one of my favorite games of all time. I used to play it like non-stop when I was a kid, when I had the original Wii, and it was so much fun. And people were recommending that I react to Summoning Salt based off the last video I did, which was Incognito Mode, which is Internet Historian, and JonTron. In that video, you can check out my reaction. I'll leave it right up there. Also link down below in the description. But a top comment on the video was recommending Summoning Salt, and I'm like, sure, why not? I'll look into it, because I read every single comment, so leave them down below. And I saw this and I'm like, absolutely, I love Wii Sports. I would love to hear about world records I didn't know existed. I do read all your comments, like I said. Shout out to the patrons, like these people right down here. They get the videos a day early and allow me to turn up a paywall channel at $3 a month to get you all my reaction videos a day early, because I'm completely against paywalls, because I'm here to make you small, not make you pay. And like I said, I still read your comments. I read over 50,000 comments last year. I do this all myself as well, putting out like 18, 19 videos a week, doing every video, every single thumbnail, and reading every single comment as well, which is absolutely insane. But let's go ahead and jump into the history of Wii Sports World Records. All right, this is going to be interesting. When people told me Summoning Salt, I was like, okay, I'll look into it. And then I saw Wii Sports, and I'm like, absolutely, I love Wii Sports. My favorite was like, I don't know, tennis was great. Are you in the water? Absolutely loved Wii Sports Tennis. Bowling as well.
Wii Sports is the best-selling single-platform video game of all time.
It deserves it. It's amazing. I love it.
Before.
Dude,
and if you
Matt in boxing was so
probably
terrifying.
Think it doesn't lend itself well to speedrunning. Most games have a clear objective. Go from start to finish
How do you
as fast as possible.
speed run Wii Sports?
How do you do that in Wii Sports?
I
made a video about Wii Sports Resort
Golf
a while back.
I think I remember
Imagine the
seeing that in my
skill
suggested
involved with
before.
Speed golf multiplied by 5 sports. Here's the story of the gamers who've done it. This is the history of Wii Sports World Records.
And it's world records for like speed running, not like the most home runs, right? Is it like the number of perfect games or something in a row? Or is it like how fast somebody can do a perfect game? I guess that'd be a speed run. Hopefully the music's not copywritten. That I know just credit those people. Okay, there's an ace. Dude, I learned so much about tennis from Wii Sports, and I imagine I'm not the only person.
The biggest speedrun category in Wii Sports is called All Sports. It involves winning a game in each of the 5 sports consecutively.
Okay, what difficulty?
That means winning a game of tennis, winning a game of baseball, completing 10 frames of bowling, playing 3 holes of golf,
which basically
and
means
beating a boxer.
Which basically
you have to play
be
them
the
in
best.
Order, and since there's no other option, you have to use motion controls.
Oh.
Now, Wii Sports came out in 2006.
I was 9.
But serious runs didn't get started until close to a decade later.
Really?
In 2014 and 2015, runs clocking in
10
between
minutes?
10 and 12 minutes were completed by
I guess
Clyde
they don't have to be
823,
good. Well, you do have to be good.
RSR, and Nate 9000. But as is so often
There's like the
case,
only people.
videos either no longer exist or are in very poor quality.
Yeah, because they're so old.
We have to go to July 2015 to get our first watchable run. A 945 by the mid-2000s internet culture named Nate 9000.
Of course.
There were 5
And this is the actual
for Nate
playthrough.
to get through. The first one was actually the simplest.
Tennis.
Your opponents are picked based on your skill level.
So you start
At
with skill level 0.
You'll get Miyu and Matt, who barely know what they're doing out there.
Yeah.
You have to get 4 points to win. So Nate tried to just end each rally as quickly as possible.
Yep. Instantly.
By serving at the very top of your throw, you'll hit the ball harder and make it tougher for the opponent.
Yeah,
to
because it has the
return
little rings on
This
it
has
through the
about
quality.
a 5-frame window, or a 1/6 of a second.
Is it actually
So
that
Nate
close?
did that 4 times and hoped his opponent would miss it, which is random. If they returned it,
Is it actually
he
random?
just hit it across the court to quickly end the rally.
Yeah, because the first one's going to miss
It
it.
took him only 25 seconds to win the game and exit back to the menu.
Dude, that's going to get
Pretty much
so
all there is
fast.
to tennis in Wii Sports speedrunning.
Bowling's
You
going
can
to...
lose a bit of time
Bowling
from
golf,
returns,
yeah. Golf
but
always
even those
like
only cost a couple of seconds.
Golf always like to
However,
load slow.
the next sport is way more involved than the simple rallies of tennis. It was
Dude, it was
time
so much fun. I
for
love
Nate to
Wii
play some
Sports.
baseball.
It is like if there's one game I had to play
The
for
most
forever,
important
it'd be
thing to
between
know
Wii
here
Sports and
is that if a
Minecraft.
team's ever up by 5 or more runs after an inning, the game ends right
Oh,
there
you try to
from
get to a
the
mercy rule.
So the idea is
Forgot
that you
about
want to
that.
get 5 runs as fast as
I
possible
did-
in the top
yes.
half of the inning, then get 3 outs in the bottom half, and have the game end
Yeah.
after just 1 inning. Hopefully Rob Manfred's not getting any ideas.
Yeah, no.
However, getting an
that's
optimal
the,
inning of
what,
baseball
commissioner of
is way easier
baseball?
said than done. When batting,
Or the MLB?
there was no real strategy. Just swing at good pitches and pray you get hits.
Yep.
Nate
Well,
reached
yeah.
on an error, then lined one to left for a base hit.
Okay, now
From
you get.
there, he was
2
off
on.
to the races.
Is that a homer?
A double
No.
in the gap, then a bloop to right. Some bad luck for Akira on the mound. But there
Oh
was
wow,
nothing
a
lucky
blooper,
about the 3-run shot immediately
and
after.
that's it.
That
And
made
now
it
you just
5
get
runs
out.
for Nate, but he still needed to get out twice
He just
more
bunts?
to end the inning.
He just sticks the bat out.
So,
Watch.
He just struck out twice on purpose.
Really?
On fastballs that make Barry Zito look like Brusdar Gratterall in comparison.
Wow.
For pitching,
these
you
names.
obviously want to get 3 outs without giving up any hits or runs.
So you're throwing
But there's
gas?
a lot more to it
Let's
than that.
throw a curveball.
What you ultimately want to do is turn into Mark Burley. There's a foolish YouTuber who has a video if you want to know more about him. But essentially what it means is you want to induce weak contact for easy outs.
Oh yeah,
And not strike people out.
because
Strikeouts
that's
always take
faster.
at least 3 pitches, while a ball in play for an out could be done in just 1 pitch.
which is also like,
The
why didn't
problem,
you
of
just
course,
bunt?
is you have little to no
to get
control
out?
as to whether the batter will swing or not. So you have to make pitches that are good enough to not get barreled, but not so good that they just swing and miss.
It takes
And
skill.
of course, get super lucky.
Like
Nate
there's
wasn't
baseball
so fortunate.
pitchers that are actually really
His
good at
first
that.
batter stared at 3 straight strikes, and his second one, well,
Oh.
hit it there. His third batter struck out on an ephus before he finally got out of the inning on a ground out.
Nice.
Not the ideal baseball split.
No.
There were still 3 sports to go. Next up was bowling.
Oh, baseball hitting,
the
baseball pitching.
strategy here
Okay.
was a bit more straightforward. The more strikes you throw, the
The
better.
faster the game.
Since strikes only involve throwing the ball once per frame instead of twice.
You want to get a
There
perfect game.
exist setups to get a strike nearly every time, but they're all pretty slow. So Nate just threw it as fast as he could. He
Oh,
only managed 2 strikes.
really?
intentionally
That's a
missing on
lot of
frame
time
10
on the.
to avoid the third throw.
True. Yeah.
However, his
Score doesn't
shots
matter.
were all fast enough that it was still a decent split.
Huh.
Now, it was time for sport number 4, golf.
Oh, golf's
There
gonna
are
take
9
a while.
holes playable in Wii Sports, but to count for an all sports run, all you needed to do was
Is
the
the
3
three?
in beginner mode.
Okay,
or
in
either of
beginner
the other
mode.
3 hole options.
Yeah, imagine doing expert.
And then it was time to play some speed golf.
Dude, speed golf? That sounds so stressful. The speed golf? Oh my god.
You line
Did
up
he
for each
actually hit
shot
the
as
pin?
quickly as you can go, then hit it and hope for the best. There's not much time to
The
think.
memory.
You just line up and go.
Wow, that's good.
There's one key difference between golf in Wii Sports and Wii Sports Resort. In Resort, if you hit an incredible shot, one that either
What
lands
happens?
near or in the hole from a long distance away, you'll get a replay that loses time.
Oh.
However, that mechanic is not present in the
You
original
can't
Wii
skip
Sports.
it?
So
I guess it's
everything
kind of
is
like,
game.
Mom,
The
Dad,
better
look what I
shots you
did.
can make, the more time you'll save.
I'm
Nate tried to take advantage
26.
of this
I
on
would
hole
play
1,
the crap out
but
of
his
Wii
second
Sports right
shot
now.
landed over the hole. His first putt was wide left, so he had to take a par.
I mean,
Hole 2 was much of the same, with his initial shot going beyond the hole,
oof.
then needing 2 more
He's
shots to get it in.
struggling a little bit on
And
the
on
golf.
hole 3, despite the crowd getting excited,
No.
Nate once again was unable to get on
The motion
par.
controls, you know?
That made it 3 pars on 3 holes from Nate, which doesn't sound great, but keep in mind
He was doing it as
against
fast
the
as possible.
constant pressure of needing to aim each shot as quickly as possible. And finally, the last sport
Did
is
he actually
boxing.
have the record?
You want to ensure your Mii is ranked low to get an easy opponent, like
Marco.
Then just go ham on him until they're down, and hope
You just
they
go
stay
ham
down.
on him.
If you punch in a rhythm, aiming for a nice 15-frame window on each punch, you'll be landing critical hits that do more damage.
Yeah, and I guess
If all goes well,
this-
you'll be able to avoid getting punched at all and knock your opponent down quickly.
and they
Hopefully
get back
they'll stay
up.
down and won't get up.
Wow, he goes
It's
down.
not
He
known
does not
exactly
get back
what
up.
causes them to stay down, but it seems to
We
be
still
a
don't know.
combination of knocking them down quickly, not getting hit yourself, and
Yeah,
some
they're
luck.
just like, I didn't even get
And
one
that's
hit
exactly
in.
what
I don't
happened
want to
to
get
me.
up.
This was the first ever sub 10-minute run of Wii Sports.
And there's a video
There
of
were
it.
some
Okay.
highlights, like a very smooth boxing
There's a lot of
match
time
and
on the
fast
table.
start he had to baseball. But of course, the large number of strikeouts and overall slow bowling and golf sections meant there was some big room for improvement.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Nate knew this, and just
So he
2
beat his
weeks
own
later,
record.
He lowered it another 19 seconds. His golfing was particularly
probably shaved some more
improved in
off.
this run, getting 3 birdies instead of 3 pars and not missing putts, which made up most of the time save.
Yep.
So 9:26 was the new time to beat, and it would stand for over 2 years.
Really?
It wasn't a particularly optimized record or anything. It was just one of those dry spells that speed games sometimes go through.
I've
But in
never
June
attempted to
2017,
speed run a game.
The Wii Series Discord server was created, which helped spark more
What is the
popularity in running
Wii
the game.
series?
In
What?
August, a player named Mr. Jimmy Steele 25 joined,
Of course.
and within hours said he had beaten Nate's record with a
Just
9:16.
within hours.
We'll get to this run in a moment.
9:16.
But there's
Okay.
something else important to discuss. When Jimmy started up his game of baseball, this cutscene played first.
Oh. Why?
Now, most of you who have played Wii Sports before are probably familiar with it.
I am.
But I guarantee there's a small subset of you who, despite having played the game before, have never seen this cutscene.
Why?
And there's a reason for that. See, when Wii Sports was released in 2006, it was bundled with every Wii console sold. Europe,
So if you-
Japan,
it depends
and
on what
most other
version?
regions of the world had the same version of the game. However, for a few months after its release, the version of Wii Sports that was sold in North America
Didn't
was actually
have-
an early version of the game.
So it didn't have the
community
cutscene
calls it 1.00.
because it
And it
shaves 1
omits
second.
certain
Or
features
no,
present
that's the
in
original.
1.01.
Yeah.
The version sold everywhere else in the world. The 2 most important features
Is that it doesn't
are
have the
both in
cutscene.
baseball.
Oh.
First, the cutscene you just saw, which wastes about 5 seconds and can't be skipped, isn't present in 1.00.
Oh.
And second, whenever someone grounds out, an
throw
animation
it.
plays in 1.01 of them throwing the first,
But
which wastes about 0.7 seconds. This animation doesn't play in 1.00.
that's what
That
I thought
means
they
that
always
for a
did. I saw them
typical
throw it and I was like,
sports
it's
run,
weird.
Playing on the early version of the game is hugely advantageous.
So in order to do
as it'll
this, you
save
gotta
close to 10 seconds over playing on 1.01.
like it's guaranteed because the
Now, when
animation
Wii Sports was
and the
re-released
intro.
in North America in July 2007 to promote the new remote jacket, they updated it to 1.01 to match the
So
rest
there's
of the
only
world.
a few copies,
The cutscene
or maybe not a
and the
few
animations
copies.
were added back in. So, this optimal speedrun version of the game can only be found on North American copies made within the first 9 months of its release. Any
And
copy
how-
from
there-
the next
that's probably a good
10
amount. How do you
years
know when it
is
was
of the
made, though?
slower, updated version. That means that even though Wii Sports is one of the best-selling games of all time, this early version is quite rare.
How
It's
rare-
estimated that only about 1 in every 20 copies of the game is 1.00.
Well, that's how many
or
the
1
Wii
in
just sold a
every
bunch.
10 North American copies. There's
They
an
sold
easy
so
way to
many.
check if your copy is 1.00.
Does it say it on
If
it?
it's a North American copy and the title screen says 2006, then it's 1.00. If it says 2006-2007,
That's
and the
the
Wii remote
first
has
copy,
a jacket on it,
'cause you didn't
then
know.
it's not the early version.
Oh, it's not the
Since
early
Jimmy
version?
was playing
Oh.
on 1.01, he lost some pretty significant time in baseball from version differences alone.
10 seconds
However,
just gone
he
there.
had a smart strategy to use while batting. Once he got his 5 runs,
He just
instead of
bunted to
striking
get-
out
yep,
on purpose,
yep.
he bunted for a quick ground out.
I don't know why
This took
Nate
far
didn't do
fewer
that.
pitches than strikeouts, but it's tough to perfectly angle your bat to bunt the ball where you want it to go.
MLB
On
the
the
show.
pitching side, Jimmy was nearly perfect. A strike, then a ground out to short, a ground out to first, then a soft comebacker. A 4-pitch inning.
That's pretty
The rest
good.
of his run was up and down, getting 2 strikes in bowling
Just like
and a
Nate.
birdie in golf.
Very similar
Next
to
up
Nate.
was Nycro, who set a 9:15 just days after Jimmy's 9:16.
This is actually kind of cool.
He has a pretty big internet presence nowadays.
Never
but
heard of him.
back
That's
then
not an
he had
insult to
just
him.
a
That's
few
just me
hundred
being me.
followers. Now, Nycro's world record run was solid and all, particularly in golf, where he got all 3 birdies. However,
okay.
the highlight of the run was his batting. He had 1 run in, but 2 outs. He still needed 4 more runs. And with a ground ball hit at the second baseman,
That has
it
to hope for an
wasn't looking
error.
good.
Yeah, it has to be an error,
But
or else chances go. Yep. Saved. Bases loaded. Grand slam. No?
Drop that yes.
Wait, why do they keep having errors? Just hit a grand slam. Did you just keep hitting ground balls?
3
Is he sitting down while playing Wii
the odds
Sports?
of that happening were 1 in 1,000.
Ooh.
Nycro's 9:15 would stand for a few months, before being beaten by Alaska XP2 in January 2018.
Alaska.
Alaska had
Taking
an
on the
interesting
Canadians.
skill set. He was particularly good at bowling and golf. In bowling, he managed to hit 7 strikes.
Oh,
without
that
carefully
saves a lot of
lining up.
time.
And in golf, he had more experience than most thanks to his golf runs in Wii Sports and Wii Sports Resort.
People
He
just
managed
speedrun
birdies
for
on holes 1 and 2, and thanks to a beautiful second shot on hole 3, he got an eagle there.
wow.
However, Alaska struggled mightily with boxing, losing 9 seconds from mistimed critical hits.
Oh,
Still, it was
9
good
seconds.
enough
What
for
version was he running
904.
though?
6 months
Somebody's
later,
gonna get down in, like,
Nycro would
six-
come back to
6
snag
minutes.
another record, 901. Once again, it was an up and down run.
Actually, I don't know if
His
6 minutes would
baseball
even be
was
possible.
quite fast, with 5 quick runs while batting and no base runners while pitching. However, his 1 strike in bowling paled in comparison.
1
And
strike.
let's just say his golf hole 1 wasn't ideal.
In the bunker.
The run had good moments, and it had bad
Playing Wii
moments.
Sports sitting down is a
We've
crazy
seen a
concept to
handful of
me.
records at this point, and you can probably tell that this up and down nature was typical for Wii Sports. Outside of tennis,
Well, there's a lot of variables
any
to
of
it.
the other 4 sports can cause massive time swings.
Tennis
In
is just the
baseball,
easy one.
You've got to deal with batting and pitching. Both are extremely
also
random
odds.
and can literally cause minutes of time loss. With bowling, a good game versus a bad one costs up to 30 seconds. In golf, each missed shot can cost 10 seconds, and across 3 holes, that really
30
adds up.
seconds. Yeah,
And
we're
in
talking
boxing,
minutes.
Missing critical hits can lose a dozen seconds or more.
I don't
This
think it's
game
possible to
wasn't
make
like
up
your traditional speed
to
run,
get down to
where you
6
can
minutes.
optimize it and eventually
Sub
grind
8
down
might be-
every split.
Might be a little too much.
No, the time swings in Wii Sports were different. They were more random and far harder to control. The record was 901, and with everything listed before going in the right direction, it could potentially go way lower, into the 8s or further.
Yeah, sub
But the
8
odds
might
of
be
having
pushing it.
all those time swings go your way, it just wasn't realistic.
Somebody did it.
Well,
Somebody did it.
Unless
It's-
Alaska had anything to say about it.
Alaska, the state, July 2018.
In the second half of 2018,
So it was just live stream this. Do you
Alaska
have to live
would
stream, or you
embark
just have
on
to
a
record
push
it?
to take the all-sports record into the 8-minute range and beyond. He certainly had the credentials to get it there, but the
Nice.
issues of before still remained.
Just get a perfect game. It's that
Getting
easy.
all 5 sports to line up properly was just too difficult. He was gonna need some help.
What do
And
you?
over the next few months, that's exactly
Did they just
what he
wake
got.
up and like
One new
speed
strategy
run
he used
Wii
was
Sports.
expanding the scope of bunting. Players had been bunting for a quick out for months, but if you very carefully
Swing it
angle
a
your
little
reload
bit,
slightly
yeah,
more
it'll hit
forward,
it to them
you
so they
could
get to it
potentially
faster.
bunt for singles as well.
Oh yeah, that's
The margin between bunting for a hit and bunting for an out was razor thin, but with a lot
And
of
it's
practice,
motion control.
you can fairly reliably bunt it to third for a hit. So now, Alaska could theoretically bunt 4 times
And you don't have to worry
load
about the
bases
ball.
and score a run, then hit a grand slam, then bunt 3 more times for
to
outs.
get out. Yeah.
It could still go wrong, but there was potential for a really fast batting split. Now for bowling.
It's a perfect
The
game.
days of games with just
Or
2 or
angling
3
them
strikes
are done.
had to be in the past. Alaska was going to shoot for more like 6 or 7 strikes in the
Watching
big
just
game.
a perfect game.
The record at the time, Nycro's 901, had only 1 strike. Alaska could easily save 20 seconds over that.
Yeah.
He was already
how many,
quite good at
how many
bowling
strikes?
but with more experience,
Yeah, no,
he could
I-
save the time more.
I wish I
reliably.
knew about this. I could
In
have
golf,
probably
Alaska began using an
done a decent number. I
impressive-looking
wouldn't set the
strategy
record.
to save a few seconds.
I think I could have done
Driver
okay.
chip. Similar to a trick
Whoa.
used in Wii Sports Resort, the flag on the green acts as a wall if your golf ball hits it. If
So
you're
you
able
just have to
use
hit
a
it?
driver and hit your ball into it, it can fall straight down and enter the hole.
What do you mean it can? Can
Saving
also bounce
time over
off?
having to slowly put it in or get it closer to the hole. Now, the driver chip may seem super precise, but there's actually a setup on hole 2 to get it
A hole-in-one?
nearly every time.
What?
By hitting your first shot into the bunker, you can then line up with the flag and pull out your driver. By swinging as hard as you can, the game will automatically hook the ball to the right at just the correct angle and speed
That's
to hit the flag.
crazy because it
And
maxes out the
finally,
power.
there was
Because you're in the
boxing.
bunker and using a.
This was the sport that Alaska struggled with the most. There wasn't any particular new strategy he had to use here.
He just had to be better.
He just had to improve at it. Get better at timing the criticals,
Oh.
avoid getting punched himself,
He got punched.
and ensure that his opponent
Doesn't get
had
back
no
up.
real chance of getting up.
They go down one time
Over
and don't get
time,
back up.
he did get better, but it was still a battle. With all this,
What
a
what do you get down to?
sub-9-minute run was definitely possible. But was a sub-8 realistic too?
It's
It
definitely
would
possible.
take a miracle run, but it could be done.
Somebody did it. Somebody had
Alaska
to do it.
quickly began seeing results. He got an
840.
843 on July 22nd.
843.
And then an
Okay.
830 on August 15th. His bowling and pitching were great, but his batting was far from perfect, and he missed a putt on hole 1.
Oof.
There was still a long way to go.
Yeah, sub
And
8
then
is the
came
number.
September 29th.
Are is all going to be the same people going back and forth? Dude, what? What? He's that far ahead? He immediately downed him. And now you just wait for the count. Wait. Wait, that's going to be right under. That's going to be 7:59. Oh, wait, no, because I forgot that it counts once it calls it by the count. Oh my god, he ragdolled. Don't get back up. Don't get back up. Don't get back up. He's done. He broke a record, but
Oh my god.
After all that, still a record by 4 seconds.
and somebody got
what
up.
happened? Well,
What did
it
he do
was
differently?
The God run up until boxing. His batting was near perfect, with 4 bunt singles, a grand slam, and 3 bunt outs. His pitching was solid, with 2 strikeouts and a 1 pitch out. He
Okay.
hit 4 strikes while bowling, and
Only
in
4?
golf, got a birdie, a driver chip birdie, and an eagle.
That's,
was sub
it's hard to
8
get
pace.
better on golf.
But he just couldn't hit criticals, which led to a slow knockdown and his opponent getting up.
At the final
But
number
Alaska
2.
wasn't done yet. There wasn't much room to improve early on, but he had about half a minute.
I like how
to save
tennis
on
is just like a
balls in row.
non-factor.
This sub-8 grind had to continue. He had come close once. He just had to do it again.
The whole world of speedrunning is such a thing I'm not used to or know anything about.
Let's go.
I honestly thought when I clicked on this video was going to be talking about, like,
God.
what's a world record for the highest score in a Wii Sports baseball game. That's not, I did not expect it to be about speedrunning.
Yes.
8:12? Okay.
Yeah. Let's go.
That's pretty impressive. Okay. Shaving off already 11 seconds. What a putt.
Oh my god. Please.
Wait, if he goes down, this is sub 8 minutes.
Don't fucking get up.
Don't get up.
You
Do not
fucking
get up.
Oh my god.
Do not get up. He improved in every
Yes! Oh my god.
little outside.
Oh my
It has
God,
been
I've
done.
done
The
it.
sub 8 minutes has been
I've
done.
fucking done it.
Yeah, no, nobody's getting
Oh my
past.
God,
Nobody's getting
dude.
sub 7.
A legendary run. Alaska's sub 8 dream had finally come true.
That's gonna be hard to
It was
beat.
beautiful
He
from
improved
start to finish.
so
A
much.
6-pitch inning while pitching, 6 strikes in bowling, 3 birdies in golf,
Some margins,
and
but
finally, a boxing where his opponent stayed down.
everything to go
It all
right.
added up to a 754, the first sub 8 in the history of Wii Sports.
Now what do you do? Do
This
you try to
run
beat your own
firmly
record, or you move on
cemented
to a different
Alaska
game?
at the top. Nobody was really close to him. Second place was more than 30 seconds
Oh.
behind,
Wow.
and 754 continued to stay on top. People got a little closer, but there wasn't much new to use. They had to replicate what Alaska did, and
they
find
had to have-
somewhere to save time.
Also, they had to have
After
the
18 months of
original
this,
version.
It was clear. There was only one person up to the task of beating Alaska,
What?
and that person was Alaska.
Alaska's like, yeah, you know what? I can beat my own record. And he beat his own record.
Come on.
That-
Let's go.
Wait, in
In May
2020?
2020,
2 years later?
Alaska beat his own record
Almost
by
2
8
years?
seconds. Most of the time save came while batting. He avoided a missed bunt that he had in his old record. Other than
Oh.
that, it was nearly identical. A 6-pitch inning, 6 strikes, and 3 birdies. He had found
Pretty
a way
good.
to just eke out the time he needed. Many more months passed, and his 746 remained alone at the top.
Yeah,
At
almost
this
somebody.
point, he had held the record
Low
for about
eights?
2.5 years. That's significant for a popular game like Wii Sports.
How many people were trying
But
to
by early
speedrun though?
2021, he finally had some close competition.
Somebody get a
Two
hole in run,
players had
hole in
achieved
one.
sub-8s of their own.
You had to get like
One
so many
was
things had to go
Sphere Cube,
right.
And the other was Paul in the Mall.
Paul,
Sphere Cube's
Does this feel like a
personal
Paul
best was
Blart meme?
748, just 2 seconds behind Alaska. But on February 16th, he had a run within striking distance of the record going into golf.
I mean, his
And on
segments are a
hole
little
one,
low.
He did this.
Got a hole in one. Yeah, okay, that saves 7 seconds, which makes up
It
just about
saved
everything
about
else.
6 seconds. Hole 2 had a driver chip, and he finished on hole 3 with an eagle.
Woo!
In
That
all,
was spicy.
He saved 15 seconds over Alaska on golf alone. It was enough to edge him out with a 743.
Oh no, he beat
making
Alaska
it
by
the
3
first time
seconds.
someone had dethroned Alaska in nearly 3 years.
And Alaska took that
And
personally.
the best part about it, he did it while playing on 1.01. I mentioned before
He
how
gave
much rarer
up 10
1.00
seconds?
is, and despite being a top runner of the game, Sphere Cube was unable to acquire a copy of it. He lost
How
about
much does it
10
go
seconds
for?
in baseball from that, and still was able to beat Alaska. He was pretty good.
So you can get
About a
730.
month later, Paul in the Mall was making strides for the record. He got a sub-8, but took
Okay.
a break from running the game around the time Sphere Cube got the record.
He's like, man, somebody else
he
did
came
it.
back a month and a half later and got a 737, a record by 6 seconds. Paul played on 1.00, so he saved quite a bit of time in
He
baseball
saved 10
over
seconds
Sphere
right
Cube.
there.
But immediately after this record was set, controversy arose.
About what? What's
Once you
controversial
finish
about
hole
Wii
3 of
Sports?
golf, the fastest way to move on to boxing is to reset to the menu. For years, the rule was that once the golf ball hit the bottom of the hole, you could perform the reset.
How do you know it hit the bottom?
However, in July 2020, runner Emoad Nomad hit this unbelievable shot.
But
The
it
ball
didn't,
hit the bottom, so he reset to the menu.
because it bounced.
However,
Because it went straight in.
you can see that when he reset, the
The
ball
ball
was
was not in the
process
hole.
of bouncing
But it
back
hit the
up.
bottom.
On chip-ins like this, it's actually possible that the ball hits the bottom, bounces up, and lands outside the hole, meaning you
Oh!
need another shot.
It can do
So
that.
the
Okay.
community came up with a rule that whenever there was a chip-in, you have to wait until the phrase chip-in appears on the screen to reset.
Okay, so they added
It
a
seemed
rule.
like a logical rule. However, in Paul's 737, his hole 3 ended like this.
With it not popping up with the chip in, yep.
He reset right away, but since the ball hit off the pole, it technically would have been a chip-in, and he didn't wait for the text to appear.
Oh,
But
that's
then again,
so...
There wasn't any chance this ball would have bounced out. It
Mm.
rolled in rather than falling in off the pole or flag, despite
So does that-
technically being a chip-in.
Oh,
The
that's so
community was
tough.
split on how to rule this run,
That...
but ultimately
That's
it
tough.
was allowed to stay on the leaderboard.
I kind of agree
The
with
rule
that.
was
That's kind of like a
changed
gray
so that
area.
As long as the ball rolled in the hole, even if it was a chip-in, you could reset once it hit the bottom. And so, Paul's 737
Was able to
the
stand.
official world record. Just like the dozens of records that came before it, the 737 was great, but
It's a
in
plane.
a matter of days, it was going to be obsolete.
What do you mean a matter of days?
Because
Why?
this story
Who
is
did
going to
something?
take a bit of a turn.
Who did what? Somebody
Every
did
so
something
often,
outrageous
A speed game gets a new strategy that transforms the run.
that nobody else thought of for some
Cannon
reason.
was set up in Mario 64.
Never
The
played it. I've
scroll
only ever
glitch in
played Mario Kart.
Castlevania, the flagpole glitch set up in Super Mario Bros. When you think of those speedruns, those tricks
I
seem
don't think of the
intertwined with
speedruns,
them.
but
Up to this point, Wii Sports didn't really have a trick like that. There were unique strategies to use, but no mind-blowing iconic
yeah,
tricks.
just kind of like basic strategy
Well,
that I would think
that
of.
was about to change. Because in
You know,
early
like a normal
2021,
person would think of that.
Wii Sports' game-defining trick was going to be discovered. Welcome
And what is it going
to the
be?
wonderful world of disconnect strats.
Huh?
This bizarre-looking trick has a treasured past. For years,
What?
players had noticed an odd glitch that sometimes occurred. If your remote disconnected in golf, you could sometimes hit the ball twice, but you couldn't hit it far, and it couldn't be easily replicated. So nobody was too interested in it.
But what
From
happened?
2018 to 2020, this glitch happened to several players.
So do you
including
just
Simple
get
Strat
it?
17 and even world record holder Alaska XP2.
Do you just hit it a
but
bunch
it remained
really
just
fast?
a curiosity. In early 2021, Plaid decided to investigate it a bit more to figure out exactly how it worked.
And then
And
to
what
make
he
it
found
work to their
shocked
needs.
the community. If
What did
you
he fi-
hit the ball, then disconnect your remote by taking the batteries out, you can put the batteries back in and swing a second time. The catch is that the sum of these two shots can't add up to more than 4 bars of hit power.
Or else it makes
so you
it
can't hit it
miss.
further than a normal swing. However, if your second shot happens after hitting water, the ball will stop on a dime after a quick transition and you'll be placed wherever it is.
Oh,
Including
okay.
potentially on top of the water. This saves time in a couple of ways. On a hole like hole
Wait,
5,
So
you're
if you take
supposed
the
to
batteries
take a curved
out
path
and
around
then
to the green.
hit it,
But with disconnect strats, you can go straight to the hole across the water and take a more direct path. And second,
and of
your
course,
ball
apparently
completely
speed runs
stops
are
once the
nothing but
transition occurs.
glitches.
So if your
I've
timing's
learned that
good,
from
you can hit the
Meta
ball
Runner.
into the water, quickly hit it a second time, and avoid the time the ball would normally take to stop rolling from even just one shot.
And you
The
just
River
basically
P,
teleport it.
Wipeout Jack, and Nomad found fast routes for the intermediate holes, so that was the new course to use. On hole 5, you can save about 7 seconds by going straight across the water, and on hole 6, you can save about 4
yeah,
from using
beginners
the
the
transition
first
to
3
stop
holes,
right
and
where
this
you
is...
want. That meant that, in theory, 11 seconds could be saved.
11...
Wii
All that for
Sports
11
Run
seconds.
suddenly had potential to get quite a bit lower, as not only could extra time be saved,
Well,
but golf
glitches.
could be more consistent.
Glitches
as well.
happen.
The first player to use disconnect strats in a record was Shockwave TLS, who lowered the time down to 7:35.
Okay.
As you'd expect, he gained time on golf, despite his initial disconnect shot on hole 5 being mistimed. It
Oh, you had to
helped
time
when
it,
he hit
yeah.
this shot on hole 4.
What did he do? Hit a hole in one? And it says chip in, or, well, hole in one. Does it say chip in
However,
as well?
Shockwave is from the UK,
So he has
and
that
he
version.
wasn't able to import a copy of 1.00 from
How
overseas,
expensive are
so
these?
he lost time in baseball. Next up was Sphere Cube again.
I'm getting on eBay
who
to see.
lowered the record 9 days later with a 7:32. He had switched to 1.00, so he saved
What?
the time in baseball, but he didn't use disconnect strats.
1.00 version.
Yeah, especially in the early days of disconnect strats. Even some top
like
level
20 bucks.
runners found it too difficult to go for, since
Well, I
it
don't know if
wasn't
that's the right version
typically
or not.
needed for the record. About a month later, Shockwave took it a couple seconds lower.
It was like
But
$15.
still, he was playing on 1.01. A few months after that, Sphere Cube took it back, while still not using disconnect strats.
Really? He's
Nobody was
playing
willing
regular
to
golf.
String it all together. But in the summer of 2021, Shockwave
Somebody
would finally
got
get a
everything
copy of
perfect and did the
1.00.
glitch and
A
all
top
that.
runner now had all 3 pieces of the puzzle:
Which is basically the
1.00,
best it can be.
a willingness to do disconnect strats, and a lot of skill.
The
They all
bowling.
combined for a 728. A
That's
new
the
record
best.
just 1 day after Sphere Cube 730.
One day?
This
That's
world
so
record
upsetting.
really had a
If
lot
I set a
going
record and
into
it got broken the next day, I
You've
would be
got bunting
upset.
for outs, bunting for hits, aiming for strikes, driver chips, disconnect strats, and much more. Shockwave implemented all of them, and the end result was a 728.
So
Was
where
there
can you
any
get
time
better?
save left?
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, there were seconds here and there.
Yeah, like
His batting was near perfect, but while pitching, he accidentally threw an immaculate inning. 3 strikeouts.
Yeah.
Which we know from before.
well, 9
are
pitches,
slow.
3 strikeouts is immaculate.
There was room to save about 15 seconds there. His bowling was
Ooh.
perfect.
What do you mean perfect?
9 strikes.
Okay,
so
yeah, that's-
no time to save there.
Oh yeah, that is the
For
best.
golf,
A perfect game is
he
actually
missed
not
the
what you want
putt
because
on
that would
hole
get the
6,
extra
and his
set
boxing
in the
could have
10th.
been a bit better too. So sub 7 was definitely
Didn't I say
possible,
something in the 6s?
But the problems of
I said that
before still
originally, but I
remained.
was like, no, there's no way.
It required perfection from all 5 sports.
To be fair, I didn't know a
And
glitch
that just
existed.
wasn't realistic.
Someone's
But
gonna do it.
that didn't mean people couldn't try. By September, another contender showed up to play. Emoad Nomad.
Oh, this guy again.
And over the next few months,
He's
these
like,
guys
y'all
were
made a
engaged in
rule for
battle,
me.
both against each other and against the sub 7 barrier.
Remember when
Shockwave
sub
would
8
strike
was the big deal?
first With a massive 7
I need to see the
second
speed
cut
running.
above the record.
Actually, that might
He
be
had
spoilers.
time to save on pitching and on hole 6, so he gained 12 collective seconds there, but lost a few seconds while batting thanks to a foul
I haven't
ball.
looked at it. I just
A
pulled the
few weeks
website.
later, he'd take it down to
7:18?
and Nomad was right behind him with a 7:21.
3 seconds. Woo.
Nomad would then have a run a few seconds ahead of the record, but needed a miracle shot
cat in
on
the
hole
bottom?
4 to keep it going.
Oh.
Back to the drawing board.
Yikes.
On
Do you just
October
give up at that
11th,
point?
Shockwave got
Or
a
do you continue to run?
7:16. Nomad followed up shortly after
I guess you just
with
get
the 7:17,
more practice.
a run that came just 24 hours too late to be a record. On the 15th, Shockwave had a run that lost time early to batting, but had an extraordinarily fast 5-pitch inning to bring it back.
Pretty
to
good,
even.
yeah.
That showed how much potential there still was to squeeze out of the record. It finished as a world record of 7:15,
Whew.
but could have been several seconds lower had he not been forced to foul off an inside pitch.
Oh.
Okay, so one thing was starting to become
Yeah, they
clear.
threw a ball.
This wasn't much of a competition.
What do you mean it wasn't?
The battle between Shockwave and Nomad was a blowout. Shockwave had set the past 7 records in a row. Nomad hadn't set any. He
Nomad's just
remained
always been a
second
little bit
place
behind.
The entire time. Sometimes
He
even within a
never-
couple seconds of the record.
He
but
never had the record.
overtook him. This was starting to become personal.
Personal?
Nomad
Yeah.
had to prove that he was still capable of taking the record. Well, he kept doing
He's
attempts.
literally just like
And on
the
October
second best.
16th, Nomad was gonna have his chance.
Why? Do they just wake up every day and play Wii Sports? Like, please. It's probably very, very stressful. It's gotta be heartbreaking when something goes wrong.
He was 3 seconds ahead of his personal best going into boxing,
But 650,
but he had time
he
to
can't.
save there. He could theoretically get as low as a 7:10. 5 seconds of wiggle room over the record.
Yeah,
He just
but
had to lock it down.
you had to get him down. Okay, okay. Jesus. Good lord. I don't. Was that better? I had to stay
Shockwave's
down.
record was 7:15.433.
It's gonna be close. This might.
Nomad's final time,
Mm.
7:15.733.
Wait, what?
He had missed by less than a third of a second. Nomad
What do you mean
could
a
keep
third of a
going.
second? Is that
It's
how that
not
works?
like he was far
Is it a
off
third
from
or
the
a
record.
tenth or a
His
hundredth?
next personal best would almost certainly be it.
I guess a third of a
And
second
sure
would be
enough, the very
what?
next day, he got himself
333
a 7:14.
1,000ths of a second.
It was a new world record.
Oh, barely.
Had it not been for Shockwave getting this just hours before.
Dude, he's always one step ahead of. Are we sure this isn't the same
An
person?
Unbelievable record from Shockwave. It had
The-
just
the
about
timing.
everything. Nearly perfect batting.
Like, are
full
they
pitch
friends?
hitting, Great
Are they
disconnect
rivals?
strats. It just missed sub 7 because of a missed shot on hole 4.
Oh.
Nomad kept trying, but at this point, Shockwave was way in the lead. It was going to be really tough, but he wasn't giving up. He
As
kept
he shouldn't.
chipping away at his time, and by November, he had gotten within a stone's throw of the record.
Whew.
A commonly used metric to determine a runner's pace is best possible time.
How
It
does that
can be
even
measured
work?
from any point in the run. If the
And it
runner
updates
matched
after
all of
every
their best
segment?
splits from a certain spot in the run to the end, it measures what time they would get. On November
Huh.
12th, 2021, Nomad exited
I like how this is
baseball
just
at
the all sports.
3:14. It was one of the fastest paces he had ever been on. And his best possible time
Bro
from there
knows him and you by
was
heart.
6:44. This was a golden opportunity.
You just gotta lock down.
He entered bowling and started throwing strike after
Yeah,
strike.
probably got 9 strikes.
5 in a row, then 6, 7,
Yeah, that's-
8, and 9.
You
It was
couldn't
a
do better.
Perfect game.
You could not do
on
better.
One of his best paces ever. He did lose a little time in frame 10 from slow falling pins,
Yeah.
but according to his splits, Nomad's best possible time was still 6:48. But one of the biggest run killers was coming up in hole 4.
What do you mean run killer? He doesn't have that much
It's
time
hard
to
get a
give.
birdie on this hole, as winds can throw everything off and make life
Are
harder.
winds random?
Nomad was gonna try to land in the bunker, then driver chip for a birdie.
But does he?
Now more than ever,
He needed.
this had to work.
Does it hit? Please hit. Nice. Chip in. Now you can. Now you can leave. Did he
was
not leave
beautiful.
immediately?
He didn't get a hole in one, so he couldn't get in the 640s anymore. But his best possible time
Is still
was
sub 7.
654.
Okay.
This was doable. 3 splits to go. But he had to get through hole
Yeah, it had to be
5's
perfect
2
or
disconnect
better.
shots. Shot 1 went well.
I
but on
don't.
shot
The
2,
disconnect is crazy.
He landed far from the hole. It was
And that's on the
tough,
edge of the green. Can you
but
putt from
Nomad
there?
had to sink this putt.
And that's
He
a.
had missed enough world records.
How do
This
you
shot
judge that?
Had to be the difference between all his past runs and a sub 7.
It's so like you have to think so fast. Bro, like, what? Oh, no. That is heartbreaking.
Players like Emoad Nomad are often overlooked in speedrunning. Shockwave is an incredible player.
I like how he's...
as
Why does that remind me of
evidenced by his
Moneyball?
nearly endless list of world records.
I need to
But
look at what it
Nomad's
actually is
skill
now.
is right up there with him. People often focus on the world records.
He's just a day
but
too late, or
really
an
the
hour too
path
late.
to getting there is what's important. Nomad has had a lot of near misses, but he's going to break through.
I wonder who...
His
The,
sub 7 dream might not be done yet.
somebody's...
but the
This video is a
journey
couple
it
years
took him
old.
to
I'm
get
sure
there
it's done
is
now.
what'll make it feel so great. And really,
I'm gonna look it up
that's what speedrunning
to see what it
is all
actually
about.
is.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed
Supporters,
the video,
that's awesome.
I'd really appreciate you sharing it with
what
a
is
couple
it?
other people and hitting the subscribe button.
Wii
Thank you.
Sports. Is it just Wii Sports? Jump to... What? Is it the All Sports? Oh, wow. Shockwave got down to 7 minutes and 700 milliseconds a year ago. And somebody named Rymac G 4 has 653. So, and that happened 17 days ago. That is crazy timing that this video has been out for over 2 years. And I react to it, and 17 days ago, somebody actually finally broke the record for sub 7. And Emode Nomad is still at 702, which is absolutely just craziness. I enjoyed this video a lot. Let me know if you want to see other videos by Summoning Salt. There's a lot of video games that I've never played that I would probably learn a lot about through Summoning Salt and about the world of speedrunning. And I don't know, maybe I stream a little bit. Maybe I could attempt a speedrun at some point in my life. I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to that. Maybe something a little bit easier off, or something really, really random. I don't know. I break video games quite often, but I do read all your comments. Leave them down below. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know if you ever attempted these speed runs or what the next video should be, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day, and hopefully I made your day just a tiny little bit better. But until the next video, take care and keep the music.